Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. Today I want to run you through this fun little notebook cover project. I made these little notebook covers to thank some special customers who really made a difference in my business in June, and just sent them out with a card and some goodies and thought I would run you through the process. So I got these little notepads here at my Dollar Tree. I don't know if they have them anymore, but I did find them on Amazon, and I will put a link to them. They're little 3.5 by 5 notepads. They're a stack of 5 notepads that come all together, and you just tear them apart to make little smaller notepads, and they come in blue and green and a couple of different colors. I really love the idea of having a little jot pad in your bag or on your desk, and I thought this was a fun way to thank some of the special customers that I have. All right, so the Stampin' Up! Products that you need to make this include the Colorful Seasons bundle, which has the seasonal layers, thinlits, dies, and the Colorful Seasons stamp set. I also used my layering circles for the scallop and the circle. I used my Swirly Scribbles Thinlits dies, and that's for this little flower. It coordinates, the leaves coordinate really nicely with the flower that's in the seasonal layers. I've got the finely woven Tranquil Tide ribbon here. Stampin' pads in Calypso Coral and Peekaboo Peach. My consumable paper supplies are Tranquil Tide cardstock, and it is 3.5 by 10.5, and we're gonna score it at 5 1/8 and 5 3/8. No need to write that down. There is a printable project sheet on the blog. The link for that sheet is right under the video. I've got some Night of Navy cardstock, and I cut a scallop circle here. If you have a 3-inch square, you should be able to cut that. Same with Whisper White. The coordinating circle can be cut from a 3-inch square. Our Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper is 3 1/4 by 5 7/8. And I used this fun floral pattern. This is the little bit bigger one. Here's the smaller floral. So I just wanted something that had kind of a fun multicolor and kind of stood by itself. So there's plenty of beautiful florals in that Designer Series paper. If you have about an inch square, an inch by 1.5 inch square, you can do your die cutting out of Old Olive, 2 of those leaves from the Swirly Scribbles. And then this little 1-inch flower is Calypso Coral, and like I said, about an inch square, 1.25 inch square will give you plenty of room for die cutting that. And then I have the tiniest little scrap of Peekaboo Peach, and I just cut it with a 1/4 inch circle punch to do the center of my flower. Okay, so my Simply Scored tool is here, and I'm going to put this cardstock in on the 10.5 inch side, and then I'm going to go ahead and score at 5 1/8 and 5 3/8. Now let's run a bone folder along those scores, and then I'm going to turn my notebook cover inside out and do the same thing. Find if you score it inside out first, then all that stretching and cracking the fibers of the paper happens inside your project. So there's our fun little cover. Let's grab a snail here, and we're going to adhere the Designer Series paper, and we'll center it top to bottom, left to right, right on the cover of this notebook. And then I'm going to use tear and tape to secure the notebook inside the cover. I found the best way to adhere my cover to the notepad was to hold the back of the cover and just line it up along the back of the notebook here. And I absolutely, if you wanted to cut this down, you know, so it was an inch, and then just adhere it to the back, you could do that, but I think it looks nicer and it looks finished when you cover the back of the notebook entirely. Okay, I've got my Peekaboo Peach and Calypso Coral ink pads. I'm going to ink up my sentiment with the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to stamp it kind of high and a little bit to the right. And then I'm going to ink up this little spray of flowers with Peekaboo Peach. Okay. Now, add a little snail adhesive to the back of my Whisper White and adhere to Night of Navy. Now I've brought in my paper trimmer here, and I'm going to just park my scoring blade, and I'm going to, using the track here and closing to kind of visualize where we're cutting, I'm going to cut off this edge right up next to that sentiment. We're going to cut through both layers at one time, and I want to angle that just a little bit more. All right, so I think I like the way that looks. We're just going to cut through both layers. We're going to take about 17 inches of the Tranquil Tide woven ribbon, and I'm going to wrap that around my notebook, and I'm going to tie it off to the side here. Okay, my notepad's all secured. I'm just going to trim the ends of the ribbon a little bit. We want to leave plenty of room so that we can open and close this notebook and tie it up with ease. And then I'm going to grab my Stampin' dimensionals, and I'm going to just add quite a few. I put them over securing the ribbon, and then I'm going to put them on a couple on the scallop edge there. Okay, I've removed the adhesive liner on all of the 6 dimensionals, and I'm going to just line up my sentiment panel so that the straight edge that we cut off on the trimmer is in line with our designer series paper, and adhere down. Last step, let's grab our little flower pieces here and make a fun little flower embellishment. I've got multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to add a dot in the center of the flower, and then add that little 1/4 inch circle. Then I'm going to take my little leaves, and on the pointed end there I'm going to add some multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to glue the 2 leaves together to make one little element. More liquid glue, and put it on the back of our flower. So we have this fun little flower embellishment now. Turn over, we'll add a Stampin' dimensional. Now we've got this fun little multicolor 3-dimensional flower. We're going to go ahead and add that to the bottom of our sentiment panel. And there it is. Life is a beautiful thing. All right, if you've got any questions about this notebook project, if there's anything Stampin' Up that I can do for you, email me, Marissa@kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.